Good evening, everybody. Thursday night, Shredders Unite business call. And man, I'm glad I finally got past my technical issues. I was a little worried there. Tonight, we're super excited because literally
Thursday
Sean
night,
had
Shredders Unite business call. And
do that again.
man, I'm excited.
Sorry for the feedback. I am very excited because literally we had to send our fearless leader, Sean Escobar, into the deep backwoods to search for the one and only Lenny Evans. Somehow, some way, he found Lenny. I don't know if it was behind the rock or behind the big white pine, but somewhere in the mountains, between the mountains and the river and the sun, Lenny was found, and they had a 2-hour conversation, and they went way deep. Anyway, for those that do not know, Lenny Evans has been a leader in Isagenix from the very beginning. He's one of the first, and I'm going to ask him again, but one of the first group of millionaires in our fulfillment company. He has been a trainer. He's been an inspirational leader, and he has developed one of the most amazing teams. And we're so lucky to have him join our tribe. As Sean said today, he joined Shred from the very beginning. Many of you heard of the term come alive. Well, that is 100,000% due to Lenny Evans describing his experience with Shred. He put it into words. It's now memorialized in that on Wednesday nights, we have our Come Alive call. So Mr. Come Alive, Lenny Evans, welcome.
Thank you very much, Bob. I'm so happy to be here, buddy. I sent you a long voice memo early this morning, and then I looked at it, and it never went through. So sorry about that.
Okay.
Saying I was going to be here, and I'm ready for anything. So I'm so happy to be here, Bob, really. And I'm so grateful for all that you're doing. And I watched the where you interviewed Adam Sisk, man. That thing, I watched it twice because you guys are dropping nuggets left and right for modern day doing this. And so I wanted to honor Adam and you and for all you do. And yeah, Sean and I definitely had a great catch up talk. You know, he charged me up. Like sometimes you need a good little like a challenge almost, you know. So anyway, so grateful to be here, bro. So grateful.
He did send me, I swear to God, I mean, Sean and I text now and then, but you know, he's a pretty busy guy. But I mean, if you guys can see, I can't even get the whole text in one picture. It was like, what? You just sent me a freaking book. And he goes, oh, I just got off the phone with Lenny after 2 hours. And I've got all these great ideas. Anyhow, Lenny, we're thrilled to have you. It's been a while. I've had the honor to interview you in the past. So before we get started, just to get the disclaimers out of the way, any mention of income whatsoever is that there is no guarantee relative to this business model in terms of income. Income is dependent upon your skill set, your knowledge of the industry, your ability to motivate, inspire individuals, and so on and so forth. At the same time, we don't cure, diagnose, prevent any diseases. And everyone who mentions their personal journey or story, that is their own story and their own personal results, and shouldn't be expected that that's going to happen with everyone. That said, we have an amazing community that is beyond great, in that we're seeing just incredible transformations. We're all coming alive. And Lenny, for those that have not met you before, when you got started with our fulfillment company, you hit Millionaire like right out of the gate, it seemed like, to me at least. How long ago was that, and what number were you?
Oh gosh, it's so long ago now. It took about 4 years because I just took off like a canyon. I didn't really know what I was doing. I'm still figuring it out. We'll get to that in a little bit. But at about the first 4 years, but then my life kind of took a detour, and I went through a pretty, a divorce, and experienced that and all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, I went fast, but then I kind of like just slowed down. So, you know, I'm building a new shredder team as we speak, you know, but I've been able to bring in some amazing people just because I got busy for a while. Isn't that interesting?
It is crazy how life happens. Now, you touched on two things that I will come back and touch on. Man, I hurt for you. Divorce, me too. Hope you didn't get that from me. But
No, hey,
you don't want anybody to go through that.
Better because of it.
Because of that, you grow a lot. And, I think that even though it was as hard as it was probably some of my best growth that I've experienced as related to my ability to kind of overcome and kind of get through the mess. When you first started your business center, if I should, with the fulfillment company, one thing I wanted to point out, we mentioned there's no guarantees on income, but I do think the industry of network marketing gets a bum rap because I think if done, it's like good and bad and everything. And it's the bad companies that tend to get all the spotlight and all the attention. And that's life. There are good companies and bad companies everywhere. But when we do it with the right intent, within the right business model, which I truly believe our fulfillment company had that. That's why I came to it and stayed. If done properly, this is as good as it gets as relates to business. As an example, you did that. So making $1 million over that's a cumulative earnings over 4 years. No matter how you do the math, that's an average of $250,000 a year. That said, that puts you at the top, except for the very C-suite big corporations. You're making a way, way, way above income by helping others. Tell us in the beginning when you got started, what drove you in your team? How did you inspire people? And obviously you were building pretty fast. So what was going on with the old Lenny then?
Yeah, well, for one, I owned a restaurant at the time. I had opened a lot of restaurants, and I was trying to make a living doing that. It wasn't working, but I was really trying. I was so frustrated, and so after about the second year of ISA, I started making so much money. I wasn't used to it. I'd never made anything near that. I grew up, lower middle income, I was a high school teacher. And so all of a sudden there was a lot of money coming in and I'll be honest, I'll be super always with this, my tribe here, man, I did not handle that money all that well. But what I did, I had something and I just went with it, Bob. It was one of those things. I didn't know I didn't know what network marketing was. Matter of fact, I had a bad taste in my mouth about it. I didn't like it. It seemed kind of salesy, kind of slimy. And so the lady that got me into ISA didn't even tell me about the network marketing part. I didn't know it was really what it was until I did this thing went back then called a 9-day. And back then it felt like I had been shot out of a cannon. I think anyone that will do a 2-day cleanse, the John Anderson way, I don't care what planet you're on, something's going to happen to you, even though now it's better on the shred. Even back then, it kind of jolted you awake. It really did. There was a coming aliveness even then. And I grabbed that fever and all I knew was to share that. So that's all I did, Bob. I shared it with, a handful of people and man, people started having results like crazy and people either hated me or loved me right away because they're like, oh, that's stupid. Don't do that thing Lenny's doing. You can't eat. And then there are the other people who are like, oh my God, this was amazing, Lenny. And that's what happened. I was dumb luck. I didn't know what was happening. And all of a sudden, Bob, it took off. It really took off. And all of a sudden I was doing meetings and I was teaching people. I was learning about it myself. I was meeting the owners of the company and I just started doing weekly meetings upon myself. And everybody was just waiting for me to come alive. And that's what Sean's trying to tell me. That's what Sean's trying to tell us. That none of the people that we influence can go until we go. And that's what happened with me back then in 2004. It's just that network marketing wasn't a very big deal where I lived in Southern California down in Redlands. And so it just really did take off. And I tell you, the money I've made in Isagenix these 17 years, and it took me longer to make the second million, a lot longer. And here's the thing. But it pays for everything in my life. I have learned how to I'm financially free because of that work I did for 1 year, sharing a 9-day box. That's what happened. And it blew out. And it really, all of my residual has really come from that concentrated effort. and I don't know if I guess I'll just share this. There was a person that influenced me greatly when I lived up in Utah. His name was Stephen Covey, and I met him and I got to hang out with him a couple of times, and I took his class and I became a 7 Habits of Highly Effective People certified trainer. And then in the last stages of his life, he wrote one more book, and then he passed on, and it's called 7 Habits of Highly Effective Network Marketing Professionals. And he interviewed me, and I made it into this book. And so we talked about my story, and all I want to do is bring it up right now because of this piece I'm sharing. I decided I would tell 2 people a day about this experience that I had with this 9-day program, 2 people a day. And I thought, look, anybody could keep up with 2 a day. Come on, don't be retarded, 2 a day. So I tracked it, Bob. I tracked it. And if you do the math, 2 a day by 365, everybody should do that math because that's just a certain amount of people. I think it happens to be 730 humans. I looked at it after my year and I had failed so miserably. I didn't even come close to talking to that many people, but I had talked to 252 people. And I remember my numbers because I looked at them all. I had them right in front of me. 200 people said no to me during that first run. It was about a 6-month to a year run back in 2004 to 2005. And 200 people said no. And then 52 people said yes. And that's literally what happened to me. I didn't even know what I was doing. Like I said, I'm learning network marketing, the pure form right now from you and Sean and Crystal, Jesse, this whole new tribe, the new way to do it. In my opinion, there's a new way, a better way, a soulful way where it's not all salesy all the time. But I want to finish my story because Stephen Covey said, Lenny, do you realize you were born in Las Vegas? Your dad was a blackjack dealer. True. You told 52 people. That's how many cards are in a deck. Okay. How many aces are in every deck? And I was like, what? Dave MacArthur, Hillary Courtney, Tammy Hess. I mean, like I got my aces back then. And so much of my success was from that early sharing a come alive experience that's not nearly as easy to do as it is in our new model with a better program, with better results, and with a community that kicks ass. And you can just, with excitement and joy, put people in there, and they're welcomed like family. It's like a dream come true, Bob. It really is.
So for those that are listening, this is a network marketing model. And the goal is, and you touched on it in the very beginning, you said you didn't like network marketing companies and that you were excited because you were sharing your story of the 9-day results back with John Anderson, right? So what inspired you in the early days wasn't the business of network marketing. It was how you felt coming alive then and the results that you had. Is that how you attracted your aces, your 4 aces?
Well, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. I do believe in the very beginning, I would work for free. In the very beginning of my journey, I was just like, it was so much fun to be an influencer. I love to serve people. And when I can serve and see a difference in them, wow. How often do you get something like that? You give somebody a new iPad or iPhone, they get fatter, not thinner. They're going to look at it more, like you get people on ISA, like on a shred, man, there's something. And so I just wanted to watch people become a better version of themselves because I saw something right away with myself. And that was that I became a more enthusiastic version of Lenny. And then I watched it happen to everybody that would follow the protocol, at least the 9 days, even though we let them eat pretty much whatever they wanted in those days in between the cleanses, right? But they still had that feeling of, wow, something's different. Like some scales came off their thinking, mental clarity. A lot of the same buzzwords are more alive now. But I want to say I would have worked for free. And I feel like I still would. And I know we have that model, but boy, have I choked on that. Sean said something yesterday that really helped me because I don't like identifying myself as things anymore. I'm really, oh man, I'm not going to talk about this tonight, but boy, I'm going to talk about this for the rest of my life, the Untethered Soul. And he says, look, in one of the chapters, he says, look in the mirror. You say, you see, I'm a man. You're already messed up. I'm a woman. All those tags. I am a Christian. I am a Jew. I am a network marketer. All those titles. I told Sean, I said, I don't know what it is, but there's something still. I don't even like the word network marketer, and so to me, this is more like, I mean, I know that's our model, Bob. I know, and I honor it, man. It's paid for my entire life.
You just said something. I got something. We're gonna
okay,
jive.
Go
here.
ahead.
No, we're gonna jive because for those that don't know, Lenny and I both picked up yoga a long time ago, and that was part of our healing journey. But it basically, I think, made me a better person, hopefully centered me, maybe a little bit more grounded. Lenny's taking it another level, in my opinion, as a teacher and as a mentor and running your retreats on breathing. That said, so I'll take a deep breath. You made a statement about Untethered Souls, a great book. I am going to have to go back and revisit it because I read it a while ago, but you picked up on something about labels. And when you put put a label on them, regardless of what you call them, even if you're a network marketer, the result is you put them in a box. They're identified as this is who you are. And then you kind of become your identity, good or bad, right? One of the things, let me ask you this. When you came alive with ER Shred, is this in the box? Is this conventional thinking, or is this something that you would consider that's out there or out of the box thinking? For anybody doing the ER Shred, you see what I'm saying? Is this a conventional means of eating, or is this a conventional way of approaching our program? Is this a conventional way of following the business model?
If this was conventional, I never would have come in 17 years ago. It was completely something I'd never done. I still love the word revolutionary. And so, perfect. But the title thing, where you're going with, I mean, to me, I still am. I'm a come aliver. I'm a sharer of come aliveness. That's how I envision the new Lenny, just serving. It doesn't matter whose team anybody's on it. I just want to make sure that everybody has, this ability to come alive themselves, because then they can do what they want with it. Even in this beautiful culture that we have, we don't care if you just want to become a hero or the superhero, which I wanted to get into a little bit. But because Sean's teaching me that instead of having these names like associate, consultant, to me.
So can we, and I'm going to let you flow because I know that you're going to go on autopilot here real soon, but I'm going to kind of get you charged up. So for those that have not seen Lenny Evans in the past, please go to our YouTubes and watch the first interview I did of you. I know that Jesse's had you on. You've talked to Sean a lot. Tonight we'll let you go deep because last time we ran out of time. But what I want, this just dawned on me with Untethered Souls. With ER Shred, we think differently. We're unique. We're the crazy ones. We borrowed basically the Apple advertising, right? We're using the Simon Sinek golden circle. We're a community of We're a community of like-minded individuals who aspire to live their very best life through health and wellness. We do this through following our protocol called the ER Shred, or the tracks called the ER Shred. In other words, ER Shred isn't the product. ER Shred isn't the protocol, but ER Shred becomes the community. We are a community, and that's the energy. That's the soul. That's the excitement. And when we take a product like this and we don't do the feature benefit thing, or we're not saying mine's better than yours, or I lost more weight faster, et cetera, which the whole world is feature benefit, feature benefit, feature benefit. We're literally, as Sean would say, how are you filling your soul? Are you awakening? Are you a better person? Are you a better parent? The ER Shred has so much depth to it. And when you just mentioned your book, Untethered Souls, one of the things that book points out is about labeling people and putting them in a box. And all I'm going to say right now is what I've learned from Sean and from ER Shred in my own journey is we do something that's so unconventional. We're not telling people when to do it, how to do it, except for that first 11 days. We're about empowerment. We're about freedom. We're about allowing people to have self-awareness. And as a result, they can discover their best selves. In other words, my best self in terms of how I feed my body might look different than you, Lenny, or maybe look different than Sean or anyone else in our group, but we get to find our way. And this is unconventional thinking. This is out of the box thinking. And that's where I'll leave it. We're outside of the box. We're outside of our comfort zone. We're not telling people how to do it, what to do it, other than follow the first 11 days and get the baseline. But as a result, we're all coming alive. So take that with Untethered Souls and the fact that you don't want to use labels. Tell us about your first experience with ER Shred. What was it that you went, oh my God, I'm coming alive? I had that same feeling, but you put it into words. And let's go from that in terms of what was that? What was the light that inspired you at that moment in time?
First of all, thank you. That's awesome, Bob. And there's a lot of good stuff. There's so much good stuff that I think that we get another shot at to do business in a new way, like a unconventional way. And I love that. I love that about Sean too. He's good with that. And so I want to become an untethered shredder, like an untethered shredder. That's my goal, right? Because what does it mean, in my opinion, so far? That if I'm tethered, my mind is running loops and I'm going to worry about rejection. And I'm going to be all in my head about inviting people to shred. So there's like three elements here, right? There's the physical part. Of course, there's the mind, body, soul. I mean, that's what I love about the shred so much, is that we got it all. It's like yoga. It's the union of it all, right? So we've got the mind, the body, and the soul. And our minds are working better than they have in a long time because we're feeding them so pure. And our bodies are working so much. And that's what happened in the beginning with me, with the very first 9 days, 17 years ago. I totally took out fast food. Imagine, I take out fast food and Dr. Pepper. Imagine, to a human body, if you just take out fast food, cheeseburgers, fries, and Cokes and Dr. Peppers, and you put in it these protein shakes, Isagenix, it's like, and then you do a 2-day cleanse. And John Anderson was so out of the box back then that it was just so crazy. It was just crazy enough that people are like, okay, all right, I'm in. And what it did, it was this great sifter between badass people and not. It was like almost a pre-shred movement, because you either were all in on this protocol for 9 days. That's kind of crazy, I think. Mm-hmm. It was almost harder in some ways. It was harder to get through it. And then I guess what I'm saying is that feeling of coming alive. I watched myself and other people, Bob, one after another. I watched humans becoming better humans. And where does that happen? I plugged it in to a mechanic, and that mechanic became a better mechanic. Dave MacArthur. I swear. I took it to another guy that I think of all the chiropractors, dozens. I plug it into a chiropractor, he becomes a better chiropractor. I plug it into a stay-at-home mom, holy Hannah, she becomes a better stay-at-home mom. Like, everyone was becoming just a better version of whatever they were. And that was just fun to me. And then I think that was the initial, that's what I came out of the cannon. It was fun. I was having so much fun seeing people's lives come alive. And then I got lost. And I'll tell you, through my journey in ISA, there were a lot of different cultures. Trust me, I was part of all those cultures. We went to a 30-day, then to a president's pack, then it became a value pack, and then a super value pack. And then I went, blah. And then my friend Dave helped me say, no, come over here with a forever pack. So I went back to all these different, I wanted something to work so desperately. And it wasn't until I saw Sean and Crystal. And I'm like, what? I thought I knew them, but I didn't really know them. But they had come alive. Their avatars were glowing. And I was like, what? I
have to ask, because I think this is the funniest story. No, this is the funniest story. Not only did you see Sean and Crystal come alive, tell our audience, how was Lenny Evans feeding himself at that point in time? Before ER Shred.
Totally. I had been trying to, on my yogic path, I became a yoga teacher, meditation teacher. I'm learning breath work. I'm a pranayama coach. I'm doing all this stuff, and I keep learning from everyone. Michael Beckwith, I go, and he even said, everybody's going to start eating less and less, meat. Everybody's going to start eating plants. And it hit me. And I'm like, I better start doing it now. I was dating a girl that was a vegetarian. I'm trying to impress her. Here's the thing. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know, but I was getting my animal protein at a point in my life from my Isagenix shakes. And then when I went to plant-based, man, I watched that movie, The Game Changers. I became a missionary. It was one of the last things I decided. And I'm telling all my friends, oh my God, you have to watch The Game Changers. And I'm like, I'm just in, Bob. And so I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And so all of a sudden, and then Sean's going, yeah, you're going to have to eat some meat. I'm like, what? Really? And I'm like,
would you consider yourself a vegetarian or a vegan at that time?
Oh,
I
tried to be vegan. I tried to be vegan. Vegan's a whole nother level. You don't, there's no cheese, there's no eggs. There's so many levels of things out there. For about 5 years, I was pretty true to becoming a pescatarian. And I ate like shit. Okay. Let me just say, I ate like shit during my pescatarian years, where I ate all vegetables and then processed cheese and any kind of sushi or fish, things like that. The pescado part of the pescatarian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was feeling terrible, Bob. I hadn't done a 9-day and I don't even know how long, and all of a sudden I said, I got to do this. So last October, I did 2 back-to-back, man. And it was more than anything that had ever happened in my original story. It was all that and more.
What you did, which I didn't do, here you are, a vegan pescatarian, right? Or not vegan, vegetarian pescatarian, basically vegetables and some fish now and then, a little bit of cheese. You didn't spend a whole lot of time to say, I'm in on ER Shred. You just literally talked to Sean, watched Crystal, Sean. I mean, there was a short period of time there. How much time went by before you said I'm in?
I think maybe I don't know exactly what happened. Sean and I, we'd be becoming friends more and more and more in the last couple of years. And all of a sudden I saw something and something made me reach out. I don't remember exactly what happened, but as soon as he said it, I was like, oh my gosh, I had this moment where I was like, oh, why couldn't I think of that? Because we didn't take control of the people's meals back in the day. It was just such a pure concept. And then when I understood it with the meat and the amino acids and the eggs and all the goodness that's happening in my body, and how I all of a sudden, I had control of my cravings. My mental clarity was better than it ever was. All of that. Because of the way it all is now, it's divine magic. I quoted you last night. It is divine magic, Bob. It's magic in a bottle, like you say, because if anyone will just submit themselves and humble themselves to the protocol, it's game on. That person's coming alive. And when they do, I don't want to say my job is done, our job is done, but who am I to care what they do with that? I don't want to care what anyone decides to do with their heroism, because that's what I want to go into right now, because Sean is helping me with a new idea, a new model that I love. I'm in love with it. And that is, anyone out there can become a hero by following the 11-day ER Shred protocol. They'll become their own hero. And that's that. Hallelujah. We love heroes. We need more of them in the world. What's that one really cool quote? She needed a hero, so she became one. That's badass stuff. That's what we are doing. We're helping people become heroes, right? In their own body. You hear Jesse talk about it every single week, multiple times a week. And all of us, right, are getting this message. But then Sean said, there's another step. And the next step is becoming a superhero. Like, you want to see that? I think we should all have Shredder shirts underneath, no matter what we're wearing during the day. So if we took it off, we'd have it underneath, we'd be ready to rock. Where are my glasses? I was going to be a Clark Kent there for a minute, but it doesn't matter, right? Because when we become a superhero, we shared it with someone and they came alive. And that's the business model. You become a hero, you become a superhero. And you can keep doing that. The first two stories of the Come Alive call last night, Marla and Jenny, oh my God. And they both were wallpaper aficionados, like they just happened to roll the dice and Jesse comes walking into her life, right? It's a miracle, but we can all do that at that level. But how did it feel for Jesse to just sit there, rock his baby as a superhero? He did nothing last night. You follow? Like, that's the model, because we're heroes and superheroes. And I just love that so much. There's no feeling, I don't think, like having a feeling where you help someone take control. It's a transference of power. You hear me talk about this. It's the most important high-level conversation we can have with another human, is where what we share transfers power. Very few things happen in life that transfer power. ER Shred happens to be one of them for that whole physical, mental piece. Now you plug in, you learn, you can look. I saw somebody in the group today posted the compensation plan by Jim Coover. Of course, everybody needs to watch that. Of course, that's a ticket to freedom. But people, if they come alive, they're going to be hungry for that. They're going to be finding it. They're going to be sending it to you going, Bob, have you watched this? That's what's going to start. That's what happened to me. That my team led me. We led each other because everybody saw the opportunity to become free and have no boss tell them what to do anymore. That's a whole nother part of this, isn't it? But you can't really look at that. You can't look at that model until you come alive and you become your own hero. There's nothing here.
Bingo.
There's
So
no reason to be talking
let's
about
pause. Let's pause and hold that thought. So people who do know me, I was a money manager and I love money. And I told Sean that I can talk finance all day long in investments. That said, here's a pointed question. You mentioned Jim Coover's compensation, video, hour long. Does the model inspire? Does the business model, this is a great business model. I already said it's the best I've seen. Does the business model make you successful? Does it inspire you to do more? Or is it the other way around? Was it your mindset around the 9-day that inspired you to be your superhero? My point being, I don't think the business model or a business model of any sort is worth its salt unless the person driving it is inspired. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, for sure that. But I do want to talk about the model and that model, the binary. I call it a new generation binary. I mean, I don't want to get into the dynamics of that right now, but it's the most fair. And when it's done properly, it rewards you. It's funny. Sean is teaching me so much about money. Money is energy. Money is energy, right? Money
100%
is energy. Energy is money. And I remember my dad, who's been passed a few years now. I mean, most of the things he taught me turned out to not be true. I don't know how many other people have dads like that, but one of the things he got me so clear on. He got me so clear on, Lenny, money doesn't grow on trees. It doesn't grow on trees. He had me understanding that, right? That's one of my programs. And then I'm sitting at one of my first meetings and there's Jim Coover. And little did I know I was going to become good friends with Jim Coover. There he is. And he's telling me, so in effect, he's drawing this tree and he says, so in effect, money grows on trees. And I'm like, literally had one of those moments like, my God, my dad's wrong about everything. Like, money does grow on trees. And so we have this tree. The only thing I don't like about the model is how it kind of goes in a pyramid. I wish I was a little more set up. I want to get a pen real quick. Hold on one second. I love this so much, because I think what's happening in my mind and what's finally happening, because I've been perplexed and a little lost about a lot of what network marketing is all about. And I think the whole idea of the pyramid is one of the problems with it. So if we take this model, right, and we look at the model that we have to teach, it looks like this, right? Can you see that? Looks like a triangle. Well, who said in the back office it's even supposed to be like that? To me, we are only here to support people. only here to support people. So we've got it all wrong. We got to invert the triangle, because when we're here, that's when we support our people. You could never be successful in the shredder community unless you're helping other people become happy and alive and better versions of themselves. It won't happen. So I just love this idea that we're here to support. We're here to help other people. And when we start doing that with this community, and people are getting their lives back, I mean, come on. I said last night on the call, watching that call last night, that whole hour, I felt alive. Our goal is to come alive and to stay alive and to be alive. But when you watch other people share, total strangers I've never met, these stories are better than any stories I've ever heard in the history of this company and in the history of any company, in my opinion. And I just start to feel alive, and I feel alive, and I thought, I want my friends to be, I could see and then you hear what they were. Oh, they were a real estate agent. Who do I know that's a real estate agent? Oh my God. So you could talk to that Marla, and you start thinking about that stuff, and so I just think there's nothing like the feeling, Bob, of helping another person become a better version of themselves. And it's really a rare gift to be able to do that, because here's the thing. I love reading. It's my passion, and learning. I love to learn. I will devour books, read them over and over and over until I just know what page it's on. I don't know what that is in me, but when something blesses me, I want to pay it forward. When I got into our fulfillment company, Isagenix, years ago, I remember learning about this proverb that said, when someone shares something with you and you receive value from it, you have an obligation to share it with others. That was the Chinese proverb. So if somebody shares something with you and you receive value, now you have an obligation to share it. Now, I don't like the word obligation so much, although I guess in a sense, we're all down here trying to figure it out as fellow humans, and human beings are amazing. And so we should, we're going to attract the people that want to come into our tribe, basically. And so I just think that that's an important aspect, if you really have come alive and you're grateful, paying that forward, that is just a beautiful thing. When someone shares the ER shred with you and you come alive, you have an obligation to share with others. Now, I don't know if I like that word obligation. I don't want to put anybody under an obligation myself, but it's almost like a natural swelling up of well-being.
About if we just refer to it as it's just good karma to pay it forward.
Yeah, well, for sure, it's good karma. Now let's get into the model. If you play this karma right, be careful, because you're going to all of a sudden, all you need. Okay, the crazy part about this model, the fun, amazing, yummy, crazy, delicious, crazy part is if you get one person on your left team and one person on your right team and they come alive, heaven forbid if you ever wanted to make some money, have money coming into your life, but you don't get it twisted. Don't be, I got it twisted. I got it twisted for many years. I thought it was about the money and the salesmanship and what was I selling. And I just, that makes me want to throw up in my mouth right now. Like any of that because this is just too pure. It's too good, Bob, to almost like dilute it with that, because until someone comes alive and is their hero, that's a whole new thing. That's a whole new game. Now they're going to want to know. Now our ability to have a system for once people come alive, that's where I'm excited that you're here every Thursday night helping us figure it out. You're here. You're interviewing Adam and Crystal and Sean and all the people that are doing this, for real, and I just, if we can take the weird out of it, man, we got this. And I'm in awe of Sean and Crystal.
So
and what they've created. So, yeah, go ahead.
Lenny, you're hitting on all the hot spots. Because you're so excited, you're going to blow right by it. So I want to pause for a second and pull it back in.
Cool.
Number one, we think of a pyramid, and that's a typical organization that this world is accustomed to. It could be the Roman Catholic Church. It could be General Motors. It could be the US government. It could be the military. Everything's a damn pyramid, right? And we're used to that. You're reporting up, reporting up, reporting up. I love the fact that you turn the pyramid upside down. So what that makes us is we're the roots of that tree. We're the foundation of the tree. What do roots do? But they bring in the nutrients that feed upward to grow the tree, right? Now, you also pointed out, which is so true, you said from Sean, which God bless Sean for telling you this, money is energy. That's all it is, right? So if you're telling me by doing the ER shred, you're elevating and coming alive yourself, you're awakening your body, your spirit, your mind is opening up. Again, that's energy. Would you say you have more energy? Are you vibrating at a higher level today than when you were a plant eater and having fish now and then? I mean, there's two Lennys, okay?
Yeah.
So you're saying I was doing it this way because I was told this is how it should be. I broke with convention and I followed my buddy Sean and ate all meat, grass-fed beef and eggs and the salt of the earth. Fed my body, I came alive, I have more energy. You see where my thought process is going? This is all about energy. So I know as a yoga teacher, you understand vibrational energy. What is the highest vibrational energy you can have as a human being? Is it love, gratitude, or are they tied or one above the other? What would you say it is?
Well, they say gratitude is right up there at the top. Yeah.
And what do you get being a superhero?
Yeah, you only get gratitude. That's right.
1000%. So what I want to talk about going forward is you as a person, Lenny, when you were on the stage and you were lighting up 10,000 people with inspired energy. That was the old Lenny. That wasn't the Lenny that was focused on the money or the business or the blocking and tackling or U+2, or I got to do this to get to this bonus, etc. You were inspired because you wanted to help people from the heart.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I mean, you moved me. You brought me. You're probably one of the first men that got me choked up in a public environment where I got teary-eyed.
Wow.
God's honest truth. Because when people that are associated with business or business companies, it's all about the money. It's all about the black and white. It's more of, rather than abundant viewpoint, an abundance of love, an abundance of gratitude. It's more about scarcity thinking of it's mine and try to collect it, mine. And that creates division. It creates jealousy. It creates resentment. That scarcity mindset is the death of us all. So what I love about what Sean and Crystal have done is when they say the word empowerment, that is one of the most powerful, abundant terms you can have. We're empowering people out of an abundance of love to get them their best result. And then we're going to allow them to become their own superhero, as you pointed out. I'm using your words here, which is so great. And trust me, you're helping us put this into context, into words that we can explain it. But if I can go from becoming my own hero and I come alive, and then by sharing it with others, I rip my shirt off and I'm now a superhero. When you become a superhero, you just told me you get a lot of gratitude. And gratitude is the highest vibrational energy in the universe. So when you say, when I was on autopilot in the beginning and I made $1 million, again, we have the disclaimers up. We've told people that money is not a guarantee, but what I'm hoping to do is show different pathways of what's possible. If you have the right mindset, if you're coming to it with sincerity, with the right heart, in that you're helping others. When you did that in the first 4 years, you had immediate success. You also said it took you a lot longer to make that second million. And you mentioned you started focusing on a lot of the things that were low vibrating energy or scarcity thinking. So let's go back to superhero thinking. And I'm giving you back the floor to take this thing home.
Yeah, no, this is so good, Bob. I love how your mind works, man, your business mind and this new model, right? And I think You know, Apple's cute. I think they're awesome. Shred. We're gonna we're doing our own thing. We're above Apple, right? But you're right. You nailed something right there in the beginning. I think what I was really intrinsically working towards was people saying, "Thank you, Lenny. You changed my life. Thank you, Lenny. You changed my life. Thank you, Lenny. You changed my life." And then we'd go to a bigger meeting in Arizona, and I'd have people in the audience, and they would stand up and say, "Thank you, Lenny. You changed my life," in front of people. And I was like, oh my God, if I had a sign instead of work for food, I'd work for, "Thank you, Lenny. You changed my life." I'd work for that. I would work for that. You're right. So it's in that high vibration that we're in that. Because, you know, was it Bob Proctor's mentor, W. Clement Stone, said, "What do you do when you're truly grateful? You share." That's the quote. What do you do when you're truly grateful, comma, you share? That's how you know. That's the gratitude test. Do you want to do a gratitude test? You'll know if you're grateful enough to share, you're getting past some of these things. And I want to say one more thing, Bob, because I'm so excited about this. I know we're probably needing to wrap up soon, but we got time. I want to be back on a lot. I'm coming into I'm coming into a place where I'm excited about this again. I'm excited. And one of the things, we need our energy from our food. And there's no one like Jesse to explain it. And from the things we ingest and imbibe. And I'm a big believer. I'm a huge student of Wallace Wattles, who wrote The Science of Getting Rich and The Science of Being Well and The Science of Being Great. Anyway, he says the most nutrient dense thing we do all day, every day is breathe. There's more food particles in one breath, if we could understand how it all works. So what we breathe is important too. That's why I'm always wanting people to open their windows at night and sleep with real air going across their nostril. And I'm not going to get into that right now, but this book is teaching me that there are energy centers. I've always known it, the chakra system, the wheelhouses, but they're spiritual centers. And so the shred gives us this energy, this physical energy, but I'm telling you, I love this spiritual aspect of learning how to let things go, to relax and release. And every time you do it, you get more energy in your wheelhouses on the inside, the energetic places that have us have thoughts and inspiration. And so, man, you guys are this community. We got it all, if you think about it. And every time we help someone with anything that benefits their life, what do they say to us, Bob? You just asked me this. This is so cool. They say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. They say thank you. And you guys, we work for thank you. I work for thank you. Thank you. You just unlocked it for me, Bob. Man, this is huge. I swear. And I did that for a long time. And then it goes on autopilot with this model. And all of a sudden, some of the people that said thank you, I did a call on Monday. It was I do a daily call where I have, lots and lots of people call in, and then I host different millionaires in our company. I've been doing it for 16 years, every Monday through Friday. And I record it, becomes a podcast. And Monday, I had one of my best friends, Dave MacArthur, on, and it was our 947th episode. And so, we have been doing this for a while, but I have got a whole new sense. And he still says thank you to me because I was there at the right moment for him. And I got him to stick with his first 9 days, changed his life. Oh my gosh, he's now gone on to do great things in his life. And there's nothing like that. Now, let me just say this too. As far as this thank you goes, I remember one call that I made that was I didn't know any different. I didn't get in my head about it. Her name was Hillary Courtney. You might know Hillary. She's a dear soul sister. I brought her into ISA. And I went out and I helped her. She had no children. She wanted children. I don't know if you know now how many children she has, but when I first met her, she didn't have any children. But she has children now. She has 4 of her own, and they adopted 5 children. And I don't really have a connection with the 4 kids, but every night when they say their prayers, and they do, Uncle Lenny somehow gets mentioned because I happen to reach out to Hillary Courtney 17 years ago and say, hey, I don't know what's going on with you, but if you believe in miracles, call me. By the way, that's what I said to her. That was my line for a long time. I'm not sure what you're up to, but if you believe in miracles, call me. I think I'm going to change it though now because of Sean. I don't know what you're up to, but if you believe in fate, call me. Sean Escobar. I got goosebumps on that one. If you believe in fate, I mean, think about it. Do you believe in fate? Here I am, here you are. Here's a chance for you to become a better human. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that the reason we meet is for people to always just have to do what we have to be, that person that is genuinely interested in that other person and what they have to offer. That is where this is a relationship building. This is a relationship business, period. And if we are only in it to get them to shred so that we can make money, we will never make it. That's why I went fast and I got confused. I got twisted. I went sideways, and that's not the way. That's never the way. So thank you.
That is awesome. That is phenomenal. And that happens, and that's human nature. A lot of the times that when, I wanted to ask you this is a layup, but when you're in the flow and you have abundant energy and you're feeling good, is life hard? Is life hard, or does life seem to be easy?
Yeah, hopefully it's easy. The flow, you're with the flow, right? You're going downstream.
But when your energy's good and you have abundant energy and you're vibrating at a high level and you're in the zone, maybe I should use the zone. Like when you're Michael Jordan and you can't miss, it's all net. Things seem easy. And it's the same with this business. For sure. When you have the gratitude for helping and sharing it with others, and you yourself, you're your own hero because you feel amazing. And then you become a superhero.
But here we have something special, Bob. We have this community. Everybody's superheroes in this community. We're surrounded by superheroes everywhere you bump. It's like, there's that old scripture that says, as iron sharpens iron. I think of that. Here we are in this new model where we're the roots and we're planting kindness. And what do roots do? They grow, and they go like this. Shredders unite. That's how they grow. They grow because we need it. We're helping each other, and we have this community where, man, if somebody has a question, they just ask a question and I can't even blink. Before it's answered by like 5 or 6 radically cool humans in our group, Heather and Susan and all Tracy and Mimi. You guys are rock stars. They're just so helpful. And you don't find that. And again, that's back to gratitude, right? Everybody's working for gratitude and there's going to come a point when you're fired up, you come alive, you're a hero. Maybe 1 or 2 superheroes have snuck in because you shared it a couple times. But then if you're prepared and you really if you set the right intention, then this model will work for you. I've seen it. It accidentally works for me. If I wrote it, my next book might be called The Accidental Millionaire. Like, I don't even know. Like, and we're going to have some accidental millionaires in the ER shred movement, because all you got to do is start sharing the ER shred, and this thing takes on a life of its own. And so this is an important, Bob, I think you've been assigned one of the toughest positions in our movement, because, it's so fun and easy to talk about, abs, but you're talking about financial abs, and maybe another time I'm going to talk about this. But if you see these jars up here, there was a time I didn't do very well with managing my money, that first million. And I had never managed my money. I never learned how. And so I went through the entire course, the T. Harv Eker money management system, how to manage your money. And Rhonda Collier and I went through it and we taught it, and you can watch it for free on one of our channels. It's called the Financial Freedom Friday group. And we go through the whole book and then we teach it. And I've just been, right before COVID, I've been going through this whole idea of how to manage money. When it knows where to go, when the energy knows where to go, it can come. And I didn't know a lot of that. So at some point, I'm happy to share some of that, because I was a very broke millionaire for most of my tenure in Isagenix. And it's fun to just be able to tell the truth, and not have to pretend that I'm all something that I'm not. Yes, I had some amazing success. Yes, that still pays me. Yes, that provides freedom, even though it's not where I want to be. It's a miracle for me that it all even still works, you know, and I'm so grateful. But I love this. I love hero. You become grateful, superhero. People become grateful for you, and it never ends. Every time you do it, it just keeps on going, and you get you get rewarded every time you become a superhero, like it or not. Like it or not. If you don't like it, like, look, when someone becomes a hero in our community, I say no pressure. This right here, this is the most, I have a thing go off my phone every day, and it's a reminder. It says, never bait and switch. Never bait and switch. And that is the most important. If I could have gone back to the earlier Lenny, when I was, you know, I'm 58, I was 40 years old, hit Isagenix, man. I was ready to take on the world. That young, I would go back and say, never bait and switch, Lenny. I used to say it, but I didn't know what it meant. So if you're going to talk about just the 11-day ER shred, just talk about the 11-day ER shred. Don't talk about anything else. You know, like, don't ever talk about anything that you weren't going to talk about or get permission. You know, I mean, that's part of this. And so I just think there's going to come a point, and this is the refiner's fire, where people become alive, become a hero, maybe become a superhero ×2, where they tell 2 people, and then maybe they go to school right here at the Shredders school on Thursday night to learn how this new model works. It's one of support. It's not this old king, I'm the man on the top, serve me. It's not that. It's the exact opposite of that. It's up here where you're like, hey, how can I help you? You're doing good? You know how to change your auto ship? You know, stuff like that, you know, and then, you know, there's got to be some point where you do need to understand this model. You do need to, you deserve to understand some of it, how it works, because this model is tried and true. You know, let's have Tony Escobar on here to teach the model. Let's have Randy. Let's, you know, like, it's real, you guys. When we start hearing how this thing has changed people's lives, it's so remarkable. It's just as remarkable in that arena as the results in our physical bodies are at the ER shred. It really matches it. And then I think what my exciting part of is, and it always has been, this idea of now learning how to relax, take a deep breath, and release those, in Sanskrit, they're called samskaras. They're impressions that were placed on our heart, and they just rob us of that precious spiritual energy that we also very much need. And so we're going to be having energy coming in the financial abundance energy, in the physical energy. We're going to have it coming in from, you know, the spirit, the soulful part of it, you know, become untethered shredders, man. I don't know. I got goosebumps again. There's magic happening, Bob, again. More.
Hold on one quick second. Let me do this. So Lenny, one of the things you just said, and you touched on a number of times, and that is basically being a hero, becoming your own hero, but then obviously become a superhero by sharing it. For the people who are new there within ER Shred, they've been, maybe you've started a month ago, maybe they've been in it for a full 13 months now, like myself. The bottom line is that if you keep feeding your body and your mind with the right stuff, your energy becomes, you just better and better and better. And it's the hardest thing for me to explain, in that I feel better in November than I did in October, or I did last January. And I thought I felt damn good. But as a result, my light shines brighter. I think I'm attracting more people. I'm more comfortable in my own skin. That said, the business is basically all about driven by energy, which is gratitude. What recommendations would you give to the newest people that are joining our community?
Oh, that's such a great question, Bob. I think what I'm getting for myself right now, and I hope that it could be great counsel for anyone, and that is let go of all the other steps. You know, there was a very wise man once, Martin Luther King. He said, you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to focus on that first step and take it. And then it raises your perspective. And when you take that step, everything's a little high, everything's different. You have a higher, you're looking at the higher, and then you can take the next step. If you look at the whole thing like, oh my God, if I talk to this person, how am I going to teach them how to make money? And stop it. Your only role, really, if you see it, is to get really unleashed and let go about helping people giving people an opportunity to become a better version of themselves, period. We educate people in how to become better versions of themselves. That's how I see myself as a teacher. And then what they do with that is their decision. So I educate, they decide, you decide, I support you. If it's not now, I can still support, I can support any answer. But I think not worrying about what they do with becoming a better version of themselves, what they do with that is totally up to them. Totally up to them. If I start to have an opinion about them doing something different with their life, that's me messing with reality. I'm starting to get on shaky ground. That's what I'm learning, how to really be happy right now with reality, the way it is. That's what this is teaching me. And so just making sure that everybody that you love, that you have influence over, knows that you found a way in order to become a better version of yourself and feel better in your own skin. And maybe even do something up here, because when you really understand how much fat is in your brain, and that fat is toxic, because we don't, most people, no one knows what to cleanse. Nobody even knows what our lingo, what we're doing. We are cleaning that fat around the brain, and it's like, wow. If you notice, colors are more vibrant for shredders. Mm-hmm. Colors are more vibrant. You smell more deeply. Smells come alive. You can put your words together better, and that's all part of the shred. And then now what you're talking about too is this whole idea of, I think what Crystal Escobar is bringing into our life is this spiritual piece where, teaching us how to untether. When we're untethered, we become unstoppable. So I mean, this whole idea of becoming an untethered shredder is just this idea of once someone becomes, a better version, a better mom, they feel better, their self-esteem goes up. Hell yeah. That's so beautiful. Now our work is done. Our work is done to help someone like that. Not to mention, I'm going to say one more thing. Just because our shakes have been my lifeblood for 17 years, Bob, 17 years, our shakes, whether they were plant-based or Isoline Pro or whatever, they have been and they do replace meals. They do. Every time you choose to have a shake, incubated shake or not incubated, just have a shake, and it's about $3, the meal you replaced, even if you went to Subway, would be $10. And so you saved $7. I have been adding that up for 17 years. I just went over $70,000 that I have saved for replacing 70,000 shakes with meals with at least shake for the 17 years. And so this is real, guys. We can help people. It's less expensive to live the shredder way than anything, And so I think there's something happening here where we gotta get past this, what people think about us, and just help them see that there's a way they can feel better in their own skin. They can think better. They can be a better mom, a better wife, a better husband, a better father, a better son, a better daughter, a better everything, a better UPS driver for sure. I remember in the early days, I used to go sneak around. I'm going to start doing it again now that I'm thinking of this. I'd roll up a 20, and when the UPS driver would go into the house, I'd go sneak it in where his key is, and I'd go back and hide, and he'd see it, and he'd go, and I'm like, dude, you don't even know. I would have to be delivering all those boxes, and you're doing it, and I'm just sitting here like, what a way to view life, like that way. And I think that's the shredder way, to be positive, and to learn how to be happy no matter what's happening in the reality of it all. And so to answer your question, if you love someone, tell them you found a way to become a better version of yourself, and it could probably save them a little money. Would they take a look? And then they get to come into this community and see if it's a fit. And then they're going to say, hey, what are they talking about on that Thursday night call? What's that all about? What are they talking about? What's that? And they're like, yeah, that's real. And then it's like anything. People are going to do their own research, and then we're going to have them come here and learn a new way, a servant way more, Bob. And you're leading the way, brother. You are leading the way, man. I got to tell you, from the first time I ever met you, I didn't really know you that well. We've been in the same, running the kind of opposite circles for a long time. But man, ever since I got to connect with you here, and we go back and forth, and you're telling me about some awesome yoga book and how yoga works, that's on my shelf right there. And I just want you to know, man, you're very much appreciated in this community. So thank you, Bob.
Wow. Well, thank you. I tell you what, I think it was Susan Look that asked me what inspired me or what moves me. And I just said it was having living life with intention and with purpose. And I said, for example, I'm talking to you right now, and it's with intention, with the goal that if I can pass something on to you and the way you're sharing it and being your own superhero, and that can grow, that fills me. And it's the same thing that I see within our Shredder community is people are willing to come forward to share their story like they did last night. I mean, that was, I don't know how Sean held up as well as he did. I was getting pummeled and I thought, man, I'm hanging in there. This is great. And Jesse said, I'm saving you for last. I'm like, oh man, when's last coming? And then Kathy Martinez came on. And again, another story, an amazing story, just like Mimi and many others, where they just, you see them literally come from the depths of despair to being a brand new shiny example and just lit with life and excited. Seeing her journey and hearing her speak last night, I finally started to crack. And once you're emotional, once you kind of crack a little bit, it's like you're screwed, right? And so by the time they got to me to show my gratitude to Sean and Crystal, this has just been one amazing ride. It's been one amazing year, and we're just getting started. And now that we found you from under a rock again, I don't know where you go every 6 months, but now that you're back, if you will join me on this venture, the goal is just to share our knowledge in terms of our heart and inspire others. If we can spark and if we can inspire others from a heartfelt base, that's what this is all about. And that's the business, is inspiring others. There's nothing more to it than that. The business model works because it's easy and it's simple, and ER Shred works because it's easy and it's simple.
Amen.
But it works because of the community, and it works because of all the love and the intention that went into it, and that people want to see you succeed. And I'm so thrilled that you're part of our group. I'm just thrilled that you're part of our group.
I want to end with one thing on my end, if we're wrapping up, and that is something that Sean made really clear to me yesterday. Sean made something so clear to me as he was charging me. He said, and it's what I remember about what I fell in love with 17 years ago, and that is, this is for anybody, any single human can be a shredder. Anyone can do this, any single person. And so it's the normal average, any single socioeconomic group, any from mechanic to teacher to nurse to, I mean, let's save these people. You guys, I was a high school teacher. I taught high school, and we didn't get into that tonight, but that, I can't even imagine teaching high school right now. It makes me want to go call everyone in the whole world and just at least have a conversation with them. But that's not how we do this necessarily. But I love that. Who's welcome? Everyone's welcome. Every single person. And who can actually succeed? Everyone. Every single person can succeed in the physical part, for sure. And if you so choose, you absolutely can succeed in having this new model and work for you in your life, and it works. So Bob, man, let's rock. I'm super excited. All the Zooms this week have been amazing.
Hey guys,
we're just getting started.
You're on, Sean.
Hey Lenny, can you hear me, Lenny? Hey Lenny, I don't know why Lenny's muted. Did I mute Lenny?
No,
Yep.
He muted himself.
Oh, okay.
There you are.
Unmuted. I somehow, I'm back.
Hey Lenny, I have to say one thing, okay?
Thank you.
I have to, one thing. So we've been talking for over a year about how do we crack this code of, this is so pure, it's so good. And how do we crack this code of, leveraging the model so that people can benefit, because that is a powerful component. It should never be the focus, but is a powerful component and a powerful, add-on. And so with that said, I think I know why this is coming together the way it is tonight and more recently. And I think I know why you keep falling off the face of the earth. And I know it's for personal reasons, and I honor that, but I think it's because, those roots you talked about, how those work together to strengthen the whole. I have not had the time to really put it's at the forefront of my mind. How do we make that part work? It's really there. It's at the forefront of my mind, but am I focused on it all day, every day? No, because I have so many distractions.
Sean, you muted yourself.
Now, someone tried to call in. But I've been racking my brain. How do we make this work? And how do we make this fit? And how do we make this feel right? And you brought so much value, both of you tonight, both of you. And it all is starting to click. I see that now. And Lenny is that missing component. Lenny is literally that missing component of how do we get people charged to share. And Lenny's got, Bob, you actually brought it out of Lenny tonight. It was the weirdest thing. There was a moment where you guys talked about that gratitude piece, and you guys keyed in on that. It's the first time I've ever heard it as well. And the way that it was shared. And anyway, that's all I wanted to say, but I want to honor Lenny Evans with a very special designation. And this has been on my heart, and that designation is unique to you, Lenny, and you're going to carry that, that banner, if you will. And that is, if you would be willing to accept the honor of being the spirit of ER Shred.
Absolutely, bro.
That's beautiful.
And all you got to do is be you, brother, the new you.
Lenny, all I can say is that having you on tonight was such a gift, because as you started to point out some of those visions that you were having, and then the upside down pyramid and the roots, I mean, it was so beautiful. I didn't mean to stop you, but it just all of a sudden, what Sean said, it all came together for me, where it was like, okay, this makes sense. The roots of a tree bring up the nutrients from the earth that feed the tree as it grows. And as you pointed out, the roots grow sideways. So it's iron against iron. It's strengthening. The view of, we talked about the energy. The more it grows, the more energy it has, the more vibrant it is. And obviously getting to the gratitude piece, which you've always been all about, the gratitude piece. Love and gratitude, brother. But this is what propels us. This is the fuel for ER Shred. And this is the fuel for the business. One and the same. God bless you, Lenny Evans. Thanks for putting it together for us tonight.
Lenny, I love you so much. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
Thank you so much, Lenny.
Awesome. You're welcome.
Thank you,
You're
Bob.
welcome. Let me see who's on here. I didn't even see.
It's
I'm on my
Lily,
phone.
and
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, Lenny. I really loved your energy and compassion, and everything you shared was great.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. This is just the beginning. We're just starting.
Yeah, baby.
We're going to have
Shredders Unite.
a lot of
I feel
superheroes.
very financially powered being the root. I do.
We need to.
Not being at the top trying to grab up from the ground, but standing underneath and bringing someone up. Thank you
Here's
so much.
the old model. This is the old model.
Yeah,
This is the new model. We serve, right?
it's beautiful. It's
You guys,
beautiful.
let's somebody get a screenshot. Let's all make Shredders Unite on our Zoom.
All
right here. Everybody do this. And then somebody take a picture. Shredders Unite.
Hang on. Woohoo! Hang on. I'm trying to get a stand here.
Somebody
There we
take
go.
a picture.
Just press,
Hold on. I'm
print
gonna go
screen.
to gallery view. Now
There you go,
let's do
guys.
it. Perfect. Thank you,
Shine
guys.
strong, Shredders. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
See you soon.
Have a
Good
great
night,
night. Thank you,
everybody.
Lenny.
What a
Great
Thank
call,
you
blessing.
so
everyone.
much.
Oh my
This is
gosh, what a
amazing.
blessing.
This was so cool and amazing. I just love you guys so much. This has been like totally inspiring. And even though I've been like a little suffering from on my business end, this gave me a lot more inspiration that I can actually do more for myself and do the ones that I have. This is so amazing. Thank you.
Wonderful. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
We'll see
Bye.
you
Good
next
night,
week.
guys.
Good night. Thank you.